everyone, and welcome. Hopefully, it's welcome back to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. I am the president, founder, and chief listening officer here at our network. I'm also an expert presenter on our Talking Heads platform, and I'm super excited to continue this sharing of information about how to start your business in the United States. So, as I mentioned before last week, which was our first episode of this 6-part episode series, we have to make decisions and make a commitment that this is what we want to do. Now, by the end of this particular episode, I will be sharing with you how you too can be the proud recipients of your company name, your LLC, and this binder and all the information in it, as well as having your trademark with the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Okay, so our next step after we've made the decisions, we are making a commitment, is to do our research. And I talked a little bit about this last week. You need to understand the marketplace. What is it you're offering, and to whom are you going to target this offering? So there's many ways to do research. You can do it yourself by going to, as my friend Red would say, Dr. Google. You can just go out there and see whatever is out there. You can also pay for research. You can hire a marketing company if you've got that kind of cool cash lying around. So once you are able to do this research and your competitive analysis, you can then take that information and incorporate that into your business plan. So when you are starting your business, I mentioned this last week also, you want to make sure that at the same time you're starting the business, you're also thinking about how you're going to exit the business. So are you building this business so that you can leave it as a legacy for your family? Are you building it so you can sell it? Are you building it so that you can merge with someone else? How long do you plan on staying in the business? And I know these are tough questions when you're just getting started, but we have to start with those eagle eyes, that we're the eagle over the business, as opposed to having our head stuck in the sand and not able to plan for the future. So writing a business plan, which will be another episode, is also very important. And of course, plans are meant to change. And as things change in the economy, in our world, in our lives, with our finances, our plan will also have to change as well. So the next step is, after you've done the competitive analysis and you've done the research, you want to decide, am I going to have an online business? Am I going to have a brick and mortar business? Am I going to have some combination of this? So when you decide you're going to have a brick and mortar, for example, are you going to build from the ground up? Are you going to purchase a property that's already there? Maybe it needs to be converted. Are you going to buy someone else's business? Are you going to buy into a franchise? What are these things you're going to do? And of course, where are you going to get the funding? Do you already have a nice little nest egg that's put aside? Are you going to raise money through investors? Or are you going to use some type of online Kickstarter, for example, to get the money? You need to think through all of these things. If you are going to look for people to invest in your business, they're absolutely going to want to see a business plan. They may even want to see a 5-year plan. They're going to want to know who are the officers in the organization, which brings us to our next point. Are you doing this business by yourself? Or are you going to do it with someone else? So consider all these things as I provide the disclaimer. I am not an attorney. I am not an accountant. I am a business owner, and that is what I'm basing my experience on. So once you've run through all of these things, which again are all serious topics, you need to put the time in to make sure you have these answers so that you can move forward. I've heard many times from people, they're interested in starting a business and they went to a website online and they got a business name, they got the formation documents, and they're ready to go, and they have no business. That's beautiful. So you spent that money, you took that time, but you didn't do the planning in and of itself in advance. So again, these are important items that you need to discuss, you need to think through, and you need to actually bring in professionals to go through a number of the legalities. Okay, so far we've talked about a number of things very quickly and briefly. You've decided, yes, I'm going to start the business. I have the money. I know who my audience is. I've decided it's going to be an online business. Maybe in the future it'll be brick and mortar. This is how I'm going to attract new clients. All these things you've thought through. Okay, so what I did was I went to an online site, and I'm not a paid spokesperson, so I'm not going to mention their name, but the first part of it is legal, and the second part rhymes, actually is the name of another online platform. So put it together. So I went there and I used the name Dr. Jacalyn. This is Dr. Jacalyn LLC is the actual name of the business. I provided the information. I spoke with someone on the phone as to what type of business it was and what industry was going to be in. In my specific case with Dr. Jacalyn LLC, that is a business that provides education, provides coaching. So they are really the primary areas that my focus is in. So I paid the money. And then shortly thereafter, I got this lovely binder. And in the binder are a number of things. I actually thought it was kind of cool to get this binder. And then later I thought, well, I don't actually use this binder very much, but I know where the documents are. So I put everything here so that it's all together. And it's nice because you get a stamp, which you can use your corporate stamp, and you get a lot of information about potential scam artists, people who are going to know now that since you filed for a legal entity, people will know that, and they're going to be calling you to offer their services. And as I explained in the first session, I've hired a number of people unknowingly, unwittingly, and I was duped because they have a lot of experience in getting new entrepreneurs to work with them. So if this does happen to you, hopefully it's not for a fortune of money, and the lesson that you learned will be priceless. So within this document, this binder, there's a number of, let me see if I can hold this up for you. There's a number of tabs, and can you see these tabs across the top? And I'll just read them to you quickly. Certificate of organization, operating agreement, minutes, certificates, membership ledger, miscellaneous forms, and permits. So there are a number of legalities, legal items that you have to take care of as a business owner. And I'm going to walk you through some of them right now. So you have to decide what type of business are you going to start. So are you going to have an LLC or an LLP or a DBA, doing business as? The other was limited liability corporation, limited liability partnership, or are you going to incorporate? So there are advantages and disadvantages to all three. Again, I'm not an attorney, so I can't speak to those. I chose to go with an LLC after getting direction and advice from my accountant and my attorney. And once I decided to do that, I also needed to hire a registered agent. So depending on which state you're in, where you form your organization, your LLC, your DBA, or your corporation, you most likely, please double check for your state, will need to have a registered agent. A registered agent is an organization, an individual who will receive documents on your company's behalf that have legal status. So in other words, whether it's paying for an annual report, which is due for your state, or some other type of legal documents, you have to have a registered agent listed so that those documents can be sent to them if they're unable to find you, for example. Okay, so I'm looking over here for my file. I've got all kinds of files here. I keep everything in a file, so know where it is. So I mentioned about the registered agent. Here it is. Registered agent. And So for each of my companies, I have a registered agent. And to be truthful with you, I've found as a business owner, there are so many fees that have to be paid. It seems ridiculous, but you have to pay them, because if you don't pay them, you're going to be penalized. So keep that in mind. You might think to yourself, okay, I'm going to form the LLC and it's going to cost this much amount of money and then I'm finished. No, that's not actually the case, because, for example, you have to have an annual report. You have to have a registered agent, and you might have to pay sales tax. You definitely have to pay income tax. So there's a number of things that you have to anticipate in advance. Now, we're not going to be talking about taxes today, but I just want to tee up the idea that as a business owner, you certainly are not going to know how much money you're going to make. Although, from what I've experienced, your first sale should come within the first 3 months, but you can pay estimated taxes so that you don't have some huge tax burden at the end of the year. Again, not an attorney. Please do check with yours. Okay, so now you've decided on the type of entity that you're going to have. I know for me, it was really important that I wanted to get my company, Dr. Jacalyn LLC, I wanted to get that Dr. Jacalyn as a trademark so that it's registered, so that nobody else can use that. Or if they do use it, I have a claim against them. So I made the decision for mine, let me pull it up again, to you have a registration number, you have the date, it was November 9th, 2021, service mark, etc. The class, the let's see what else, and exactly what's included. So that's something you have to decide when you're going to get a trademark copyright. Is you have to be very specific about what it is you're trademarking or copywriting. So for example, if it's an image, you have to describe that image. It's this high, it's this many colors, it's this long in length, etc. And if it is a name like Dr. Jacalyn, they're going to do an extensive search, and that's whomever you hire to do the search. I should have mentioned that you hire an entity to do a trademark search for you, and they'll come back with a lot of information of other names that are similar to the name that you have, and you could end up having an issue. So I'll give an example. We had a series of shows called A Better You, and I applied for a trademark for that, for the name and also for the logo. And what ended up happening was, as it's going through this process with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, it takes about 9 months. I found I had been using it for about 6 months and I didn't have any issue. And then I got an email from an attorney that that name, A Better You, was very close to their client's business name, and I forget what it was. So I had a choice. I could either keep using it and risk them suing me, or I could stop using it. So of course I stopped using it and stopped with the request for the search, because it was no longer needed, and we don't need to have aggravation starting off initially in our business. So after I did that, then so I made sure that I filed in the state where I wanted to file based on the tax laws there. I made sure I got my registered agent. I made sure that I applied for a trademark. And then I wanted to set up my website. So for the websites, I actually have 3 websites right now. 2 of them I do myself, and the third one someone else manages for me. The 2 that I do myself, drjacalyn.com and usaglobaltv.com, are pretty big websites, and I think they each have over 10 pages, and they need a lot of work. You have to constantly go in there and update them. So you may want to hire someone to do your websites. I've actually hired 3 people to do my websites, and all of them didn't deliver upon what was promised in the contract. So therefore, you can understand I'm a little resistant and hesitant to have someone else do them. And I actually like doing them. They're actually it's actually a lot of fun, because I get to really still get engaged in my business at a certain level. So for your website, you can decide, are you going to do something called WordPress, or are you going to do some other form? I use GoDaddy for my websites, and I pay them a hosting fee, but I do all of the work on it myself. So what I found is, because in my businesses, I have constant changes and updates that I don't want to rely on someone else to do those updates. And I don't want to wait for someone else to do the updates. I can just quickly go in, I can make the updates. Bam, I see that everything is the way that it's supposed to be. So I think what I'll do right now is I'll just bring up one of the websites and I can just talk you through a few things that you'll need to know as well, because your website is vitally important. It's a big part of your business. It's how people find you. And when they find you, they need to know quickly what is it that you are offering. So let me pull up the website here. Okay, can you see that? Let me come back over to StreamYard and see. Okay, good. You can see it. So I'm actually over here on the website. Okay, so for my website and for anyone's website, this portion that's showing here on the screen, this is called the upper third. And this is the part that has to draw people in right away because they're coming here. And what I see a lot of times with people, and I'm not a graphic designer, I'm not a website expert, but people will put just a stagnant picture with no words. And then people come to the website and they don't know what it is that you actually do. So that's not a draw in. So I played around with this for a long time. We've got this visual, which draws you in. But then over here, right away, what is it that I do? Inner peace and elevated awareness with the power of listening, Dr. Jacalyn. Holistic life, career, and executive coaching, online and group listening courses, yoga and meditation classes. Order Dr. Jacalyn's books. So, what can you tell from that? I'm a coach. I offer listening courses, yoga and meditation classes, and obviously I've written books. So, there it is. Now, could it be refined? Absolutely. I go in on a regular basis and I make changes to this. Then across the top, these are the various pages that you have on your website. And of course, the ones that are closer to the left-hand side are the ones that probably are going to be the most important, because we don't know that anyone's going to go to the ones on the right-hand side, especially to the more button. That, who knows? So for me, I've taken the things that are my priority. My priority is the about, join my community, get certified as an elevated listener, and then the courses that I sell. So that's pretty much that. And I think that's all I want to say about the website for the moment. Okay, so I'm back over here now. So I know we've covered a lot of information. The next part that I feel is really key, and by the way, I'm not going in any specific order. These are all things that are really important. The next thing that's key is getting the word out about what it is you do. Now, if you are sourcing products, or you are literally at home making something, we see on Shark Tank people of all kinds of businesses, you're manufacturing something at home with your family, you're baking something, whatever the case might be, you want to start to get the word out and maybe have some people as taste testers, or people who test your product, people who are not paying for it, but yet they will be able to give you a good recommendation. They'll be able to spread the word that they tried XYZ and that they absolutely love it. So that might mean for you offering things for free. Now, as a new business owner, I made this mistake. The mistake was I was pretty much giving everything away under drjacalyn.com. I was giving everything away for free. And I was doing this because I was working at my corporate job at the same time that I started this business. So I wasn't as active in this business as I am today. When the pandemic came, I retired from my corporate job March 6, 2020. And then I started really pushing coaching and fitness, but people couldn't afford it. So I started doing it all for free, knowing that at some point I'd be able to convert people to actually be clients. So we have to really think about this part of it as well. And I'm not talking about pricing here. I'm talking about how do you convert someone from a freebie to actually becoming a client? And that means bringing them value. So, whatever it is you're doing, whatever it is you're offering, whether it's a service, whether it's a film, a book, a product, it doesn't matter. You need to bring value. And many times, the value that we think we're bringing comes from our own perspective. So, what I've found is that as a business owner, I have to take my own feelings about what I offer and I have to keep them in check because I don't know how you are going to feel about what I'm offering. And you ultimately could be my client. So, if I'm thinking to myself, I'm the best coach there is, I've created the best courses, there are no other courses out there, everyone should take my course. That's not going to happen because I'm not bringing any value. I'm just standing on a pulpit and preaching to you. So you need to understand from someone else's eyes, from someone else's experience, what is the value that you bring. Now, the first time you put out your product, your service, your book, your song, whatever it is, your cake, might not be the best version of what it is that you're offering. And that's okay. We have to start somewhere and we have to get feedback from someone. So many times when we start out with something, it'll be our very close friends and family who are our customers. Hey, let's help Susan. Let's help Joey. Let's help them get their feet off the ground. They might even be the same people who are investing in our company or who are lending us money. So we want to make sure to take in their opinion. But if they are invested in the company, they might not have the perspective that you need either. They have one perspective, you have another perspective, but someone who's not involved is going to have a third perspective. So you want to get yourself out into the marketplace and give away some goodies, give away some services, give away free consultations, that 30-minute consultation, a 15-minute consultation, whatever it is, so that people can actually engage with you and know that you have something of value to offer. Also, when it comes to whatever it is that you're offering, you need to look at it from the other person's perspective. Why should I do business with you? Why should you do business with me? What can you offer me? What can I offer you? And this brings up another topic. The topic is, can you barter with other business owners for services that you need in exchange for services you can provide? What do I mean by this? So, for example, I had somebody offer to do my website, drjacalyn.com. I think they wanted $15,000. And I thought to myself, well, I've been doing it. This is 2 years ago. I've been doing it myself. I don't think I'm going to pay $15,000. I don't see what the value is. So in exchange of that, I said, how much would you charge me for 1 hour of your time? And so they came up with a number and I went back and forth and bartered. I said, what if I give you this in exchange? And we came to an agreement. And as a result of that 1 hour, I took so many notes. This person gave me so much information. I went and implemented it myself. And I saved myself 14,000. So I saved myself a lot of money. But the bottom line is that people are open to negotiation, but we're afraid to ask for our worth. We're afraid to say, hey, I value you. I think your service or product is worth XYZ, but I'm just getting started. How about if I offer you 3 hours of business coaching in exchange for you designing my website? And see what the person has to say. Not everyone's going to agree. In fact, I found some people who've been in business for a long time have an ego and are very jaded in some ways. And they'll say, what? Give you my people just get all put off. And it's kind of interesting on a side note, how many people will come to me and want to do things on USA Global TV, but they don't want to pay for it. But they want me to pay for their service, but they don't want to pay for my time or my production. So keep that in mind, that you have value and you deserve to get paid. So back to starting the business. So now you are getting your product, service, whatever it is, you're getting it ready so that it's available for purchase. How are you going to offer this to someone? What type of payment systems do you have set up? Have you gone to the bank? Let's talk about that. You need to be able to accept money, payments, and you need a bank account, at least here in the United States. So, and again, not an attorney. Maybe everyone doesn't need a bank account. I don't know. So, in this case, you go to the bank, you get the banking account, the checking account, excuse me. Are you going to have checking and savings? What are you going to do? And are you going to get a debit card or a credit card in your company name. Now, if you are a new business owner, or you want to get a company credit card, they're going to base it most likely on your personal credit. So have a thought about that and ask your banking expert. They can help you there. So you've got the bank account open, and now you want to be able to offer your product or service. So, what is the mechanism by which people can pay you? Are you going to have somewhere on your website that people can purchase goods and services, and the back end is going to be PayPal or Stripe or some other platform? I know for me, I accept PayPal and Stripe. And so, what you want to do is you want to set up these systems so that it's easy for your client to do business with you. So, if you draw them to the website and you give them an offering, let them be able to pay for it right there. If there's another step involved, email me for more information. You probably just lost the person. Click here to learn more, and there's no option to purchase. People look at these things, and then they have a cart, for example, they abandon the cart and they're going to do some further shopping. You want to take that client, that prospect, you want to hook them in and get them to buy right then and there when they're on your site. And believe me, this is not an easy process. I can't tell you how many variations on my website that I've had for the storefront, because it is very detailed, and you have to actually put what is the product, what is the service, what is it that they're getting, and you want to make sure that it's super clear so there's no ambiguity in terms of what a person is getting. Are you going to offer returns? Is there a return policy? What does that look like? So you need to figure all of these things out. So once you have a way for people to buy, you have something for people to buy, how are you going to get it to them? What does that distribution look like? These are all things you have to think about. If it's a product, where is it coming from? Where is it being manufactured? Again, is it you in the garage with your family and friends putting something together? Or is it something that is more involved, where you have to actually purchase parts and you have to store inventory? Where are you storing the inventory? Do you have warehousing? Are you going to use drop ship? A zillion questions for you to consider as you're on this journey as an entrepreneur. So you're thinking through all these questions. You don't have to have the answers right away. And as you continue to grow, these processes will change. One thing that I highly recommend that I did not do in the beginning was to document the processes. And I've had several coaches. I think I've had about 8 coaches since I started my businesses, and they all are for different aspects. It's not like I worked with them and then said, no, we're not working together anymore. They're all in different areas. So the one thing that I realized was many of the things that I do in my business are very repetitive. And although they're repetitive, they're absolutely necessary. One builds upon the other. And if something were to happen to me, who is going to do these processes that I have? And it's the same thing for any business owner. In the beginning, for the first probably 2 or 3 years, it's you. You're changing hats, you're marketing, your sales, your public relations, your customer service, you're all of those things. But you need to start documenting the processes, so if and when you decide you're going to sell your business, if and when you decide you're taking a vacation, if and when you decide you're going to start hiring employees to work for you or independent contractors, you need to have documented processes. And a way to do this, someone was sharing this with me, which this can be a whole other show, is to actually go through the process that you have and record it on Zoom. And then you can actually later type out a Word document or some other way to even take your words and have them transcribed by a transcription company. And then you can hire virtual assistants who can actually do some of this work for you. One of the areas where you can have a virtual assistant is SEO, search engine optimization. You can also have a virtual assistant to help you with social media. There are so many things that will draw you in, that you want to get to at least have some understanding of how they work. Because if you give all of your power, so to speak, for all these other things that you're not an expert in, you give them to someone else, then you're never going to understand how that works. And you're always going to need that third party. That being said, as you continue to grow, you can have your hands in all aspects of the business. You have to be able to trust other people that they're going to be doing the work that you hired them for. So that brings up my next topic. My next topic is contracts. Contracts. As soon as you start working with someone else, which you'll find very quickly, you're going to need to bring on an independent contractor for something. Always have a contract so that it is very clear about what the expectations are that you have for this other person. And I do this now with everything that I offer, whether it's Dr. Jacalyn LLC or USA Global TV LLC. I have a contract for it, because as much as I love you and as much as we're friends and as much as we love working together, it doesn't always end that way. And sometimes there are challenges and there are issues. Well, you said this. Well, you promised that. Here it is. It's in the contract. I love DocuSign. I signed up for DocuSign. I paid them a monthly subscription. It is well worth the money. I take the contract that I develop or that someone else has developed for me. I drop it right in DocuSign, and then I send it with a nice little note to the person. They sign, they initial, I sign, it's dated, and it's there for all to see, to refer back to. So think about who it is you're going to be working with, what suppliers you're going to have, and what are the items that you really feel are important that are thoroughly conveyed and agreed to by both parties. So I know I've covered a lot of information today and we are just about out of time. So I'm going to leave it for you to reach out to me with any questions about anything I've discussed today. I am more than happy to speak with you. And if you are starting your own business, as I've said before, get some coaches. Start with a coach, start with a mentor, find somebody who is doing what you're doing. Maybe it's in a different industry and they're already established, and ask them to give you some time, to give you an hour. Most people are more than happy to spend the time because they were where you were at some point in time. So I am more than happy to speak with you if I can help you in some way. Hire an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, an hourly rate, there are all kinds of entities, websites offering legal services that you pay a monthly subscription fee for. I highly recommend that you do that. I also highly recommend that you get an accountant or that you use an online accounting firm that can help you, that you have some way of keeping track of your bookkeeping. These are all things that are necessities. And I'm sorry if I'm giving you a lot of things to think about, but this is the way it is. As an entrepreneur, you got things coming at you and you've got to use that funnel and say, okay, this is important to me. This is not important to me. So I'm going to share my contact information if I can find it. I can never find my own information, but I'll just share with you what it is. Here's one of my contacts. You can reach out to me by email at Jacalyn@drjacalyn.com. And for our friends listening on the radio, it's JACALYN@drjacalyn.com. You can also reach out to me on Instagram, which is Dr. Jacalyn, Dr. Dr. Jacalyn. All right, that concludes my Talking Heads episode for today. Putting on my producer's hats and as the founder and owner of USA Global TV. If you'd like to join us for Talking Heads, we are getting our fall schedule together. You can apply by contacting me. Again, you can send an email and just let me know I'm interested in being a talking head. What's required, you might ask? You need 5 years of experience in your industry. You need to be perceived as an expert by the people who know you. They say, oh, so-and-so is an expert in marketing. You need to have a large following of people who believe in you. You don't need to have hundreds of thousands of people, but you need to have people who could actually say, yes, this person is a credible expert in this area. And of course, you have to be an expert when it comes to presenting and to drawing in an audience. And I am really excited about the team that we have now. I will just show you one more thing before we close out about Talking Heads. And I can do this because I'm running the show. So I can control the time about when we close out today. All right. So let me just share this with you. This is usaglobaltv.com, or their website. And I want to just show you, if you go over here to Talking Heads, we actually have 2 pages of Talking Heads, and you can find out more about what each talking head is bringing, what their area of expertise is. And we also have a playlist. So as a talking head, you would present in 6 blocks of episodes. So for me, for example, I'm presenting every week, and you can find out what the titles of the playlists are. Here's Alcini. He's also a talking head. We've got Kathy Fulton, Mariska Duprie, Justin Merigliani, Diane Floyd Bame, Roland Friedel, Red O'Laughlin. And then, of course, we've got our second page. We've got Philip Sykes, and we've got Janetta Barry, and we also have Christine Amy Artner, and we also have Caroline Heward is joining us as well, starting very soon. So do reach out if you are an expert in your field. We'd love to hear from you. And thank you for your attention. And thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel, which is USA Global TV and Radio. We'll be back very shortly with our next show, which is presenting Pet Psychic Amina. Thank you again, and have a blessed weekend.